What's up, guys? It's your favorite twins, and today we are ranking Ariana Grande's studio albums. In honor of Eternal Sunshine dropping this week, we thought it would be fun to rank Ariana Grande's 6 studio albums. Six. And we've been here for all of them. I am one, but I always forget how to pronounce it. Arianadors. We used to say Ariananators.
Because I said it in the last video, and I messed it up.
But it's Arianators.
Regardless, we have been here for all of it, and I say it all the time. I think Ariana has one of the most enviable discographies in the industry. So to sit here and try to figure out where they rank on our list, it was hard.
Yeah, this was tough because there are so many cases where you may have a song off an album that is top 5 to you, right? But the album itself, not necessarily. So we had to separate that from the body of work itself.
Yeah.
Just a disclaimer, none of this is based off facts.
No.
This is all opinion. This is our favorites. It's subject to change. You're allowed to have yours. Please, respect in the comments, all right? This is just fun, all right? We're lovers of music. We're lovers of Ariana.
We sure are.
We figured this would be a cool concept.
Also, this is us coming to a conclusion together. So individually, we have different lists. But for the channel, it's called The Baskin Twins. So we had to come up with the list together.
That we agreed on. But enough chit chat. Let's get into this. Sweetener, Grammy award-winning Sweetener. This is definitely one of Ariana Grande's highlights in her career, one of her biggest eras, and it holds a lot of her biggest hits, i.e. God is a Woman, No Tears Left to Cry, some of our favorites that rank very high in our top songs.
Yes. Just to praise it a little bit, I mean, obviously we know what happened with Manchester, so to have this album come after that, the lyrical content for me is something that really stuck out. Like Jordan said, I mean, No Tears Left to Cry was such a big comeback.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't escape that song. The video was gorgeous, the meaning, everything, right? And then we had the tour, the Netflix documentary, right? Like you said, she won a Grammy for this album. I also think there was some experimentation with Blaze, I could say Borderline. The Light Is Coming was very experimental, Rem.
Yeah.
So to praise the album, right, I think there were a lot of highlights with this album.
And for that experimentation, I have to commend her. You know, every artist reaches a point in their career where they have to kind of evolve. Yeah. And so I love that she made this step. But with making that step, it did resonate with us a little bit less.
Yes.
While we can appreciate it, I think that with every artist, you're gonna have your preferences. Songs like Sweetener, right? I just didn't click. And maybe it just wasn't for me. Maybe it wasn't for us.
Blazed,
Borderline.
This album is not one that I find myself going back to a lot within her discography. Yes. And that's why it's ranked at number 6.
But that's the thing. Though you may not go back to the album, you go back to certain songs such as Good Night and Go.
Yes.
Better Off. Yes. Every Time. Successful. Because we can't talk about it.
We can't talk about
Raindrops, by the way, is a heavenly intro.
Yes.
And this is actually my favorite Ariana Grande album cover. We appreciate every album, right? There's something to love about it.
Yes.
This is just our ranking.
And it is a very cohesive body of work.
It is.
Right?
It is.
It's just one that I kind of cherry pick my favorite songs rather than the album as a whole.
It's cohesive in sound, but it's not our sound.
My everything. Hit making my everything. Now this album creates a major divide within the fandom because some people love it for how fun it is. I think this is very, overall a very fun album, right? I mean, you think about hits, One Last Time, Problem.
Hold on, you have to give that more attention. One Last Time.
Okay.
Break Free. Why Try?
Love Me Harder.
Just a Little Bit of Your Heart. This is the thing.
Like we said, it's hit after hit with this album. However, looking back, especially because we did a revisit, it's not the most cohesive album within her discography.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a little bit of the disconnect can happen because you go from Just a Little Bit of Your Heart to what? Hands on Me? It's such a major switch that it's kind of like, ooh, I didn't have a second to process the beauty of Just a Little Bit of Your Heart before I'm beating my meat to Hands on Me.
Oh, believe it or not, this is an album that I fight for a lot because I do think that it deserves more respect. But even I had to sit here, and like I said, we have to agree. When it comes to My Everything, though it is hit after hit, I think it has a lot to do with the maturity level sonically. I think that this is where she was kind of making that transition to a little bit more of a mature sound. Then we hit Dangerous Woman.
Right.
And this is kind of like that figuring it out
section
that every artist has.
Yeah.
Ariana hit making Grande has never, not made it.
That's never been an issue.
No. But as a body of work, I just think that you can feel the tug and the figuring it out.
Yes.
And even lyrically, I think that we've evolved a lot. We've gotten a little more advanced.
Yes, absolutely.
But you also think about where artists are in their career. That's where she was.
Right.
That was impressive for Ariana at that point in her career. Especially coming off Yours Truly. With all that being said, something to appreciate about every album. This is just our opinion. But yeah, one thing y'all will never be able to take away is the fact that this album came for some of her biggest hits and timeless hits.
I think arguably this is the album with the most hits.
Let's switch positions. Pandemic surviving positions. Miss Positions. I think that this is an underappreciated album. Vocally, this is an impeccable album. I think that if you listen to this all the way through and you can't at least admit that, you're bugging. This album took me by surprise. Ariana and her full R&B bag. You have songs like Off the Table, Safety Net, Shut Up, which is just an iconic intro. Just so like good. Magic. My Hair, which is a moment.
West Side for me.
Let's go. POV.
Love Language. The whole damn album. There is literally nothing bad to say about Positions. I mean, it got critical acclaim. It was released during the pandemic, but the era was still successful. It was still very good, and not to mention being in the R&B bag, it really showcased Ariana's vocals. I think with songs like My Hair, to whistle an entire chorus, you have to be vocally insane to do that. Coming off the back of Thank You Next, to see Ariana in love, to see her accept certain things that have just happened and the growth, I think that was the beauty with Positions. For sure. But also being very sexually playful. So I think of songs like Nasty, right? You're in a new relationship and you're making good love and hits at the same time.
Exactly. It was nice to see Ariana in her light, right? And to be happy, because she has been through a lot. Not only as a woman, but as an artist, as a human being, and we've witnessed all of it. So I think that this is why this ranks so high. I will say though it ranks high as an album, there are songs I go to least on this album. I don't go back to it a lot. And but I think it's because this isn't an album you necessarily just cherry pick, at least for me. It's something that is more enjoyable for me to listen to all the way through. It's a body of work. It is an album, But I love Just Like Magic. Safety Net is probably my favorite song. Then I have songs like 34, 35 that didn't carry very far for me. I feel like y'all are gonna get me for this one.
If you even.
But I don't connect as much with Motive anymore. I don't, and that's just the thing, right? And so, different songs for different thongs. I didn't have a word. But yeah, that's just how I feel. But in terms of just Positions as an album, a body of work, I think it's very respectable. And because she is a vocalist, she is a singer, I think it deserves attention simply for that.
Yeah. And this is my favorite album cover. Yours Truly. The debut, Yours Truly. What can you say?
What can you say?
What can you say?
No, because what can you say?
What can you say? Yours Truly was such a phenomenal debut. Let's be honest. A lot of people, right, in the entertainment industry have struggled with the transition from actor to singer, especially when you're introduced to us as an actor who can sing, right? Ariana did that so freaking successfully that now, to be honest, you don't even think about her as an actress.
But the thing is, she can balance both, and she's doing it right now with Wicked.
With that being the case, and having done it so successfully, to then produce, in our opinion, one of her best bodies of work, one of the best debuts to come from the 2010 era, how could it not rank high on your list?
You have The Way, Baby I, Honeymoon Avenue, right there.
Tattooed Art.
Piano.
Right.
And if y'all watched our revisit, you know how we feel about Piano. There are a lot of popular songs. Catch it. There are a lot of popular songs, right? But what I want to say about this album, for me, I hold it near and dear to my heart just because I do feel like it is... I feel this is Ariana's classic.
Okay.
And I do feel it is the best Ariana Grande album as a brand. Okay? Hear me out. I feel like it is classic. It is nostalgic. Vocals are on display. I think that Ariana's always carried this very vintage feel about her. She definitely pulls from the past a lot in her style, her choice of music, and her influences. And I just think it was all here for the debut. I don't feel there was one skip on this album. She started the album with Honeymoon Avenue. The Rascals, Leon, okay? So I just feel like there's a lot here. It's so special because it is the debut, but it's perfect. It genuinely, I think,
I
this album
think
is
you could
perfect.
say it is a perfect
And
album.
I think that every other album that came after constantly pulls from this album.
Yeah.
Now, up for debate whether she's topped it or not, but this is just me being unbiased.
Okay,
And saying,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
overall, I genuinely think that this is a perfect effort.
Yeah, and I think with this one as well, for it to be a debut, she could have really experimented with a lot of sounds, but
Yeah.
she kept to one consistent sound, and that's what made it very cohesive
Mm-hmm.
and a very enjoyable listen.
The Dangerous Woman, groundbreaking album. This is coming in at number 2.
Yeah.
And this was a bit of a battle
It
because I love this album. To this day, this is still my favorite Ariana revisit that we've done. I
Yes.
love this album
Yes.
top to bottom.
Yes.
You may not connect with every single song,
No.
but just the overall vibe, it was so fun. It was a great balance of fun, mature, and sexy.
Yes.
The sexual liberation on this album was very strong.
Yeah.
And the title Dangerous Woman just holds true. I think it's also
Yeah.
Dangerous Woman because on this album, she showed you all the sides to herself. And that's what makes her a dangerous woman because
Yeah.
she can give you anything. She can give you any form, any style, any side, and still be the same person. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed it for that reason. Songs like Into You, Side to Side, Moonlight, Dangerous Woman.
It
You
was
got
just-
one of my favorite Ariana Grande songs, Thinking About You.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
I just,
Yeah, I have to piggyback off of you. Dangerous Woman is such a phenomenal body of work.
It is.
And I think the single choices really helped with that. I think for this album, this is what pushed her to true stardom and really earned her respect from everybody in the industry and us. It was an album that really set the tone. And again, like George said, this is what my everything wanted to be.
oh, wait. Oh, wow.
But like you said, prepared us for this.
It did.
And you can tell that a lot of thought was put into this album.
Yeah.
And that's why I respect it so much. It actually holds my favorite Ariana Grande song of all time, New Better Forever Boy. So it, like Jordan was saying.
Touch It.
Now, but see, I love Touch It, but it doesn't rank very high for me on...
and I'm glad that that's not the video for this.
it does hold a lot of our favorites.
Yes.
So, and not to mention also like the aesthetic. I mean, you think Focus. If you were there for the Focus
Focus,
countdown, Focus did not prepare us for this album. Even the tour, just everything. I think this album is one to really be appreciated.
I think a lot of it does have to do with our preference in music too. We love dance pop music,
Yeah.
and this is just dance pop perfection. And I don't think that we can run from that.
No. Thank you. Thank you next. Record breaking. Thank you next. This is personally my favorite Ariana Grande album in her entire discography. So we kind of battled with what spot this is going to take between 1 and 2, but ultimately we knew that it was top 2 and then number 2. Ariana really found beauty in Disaster, right? And to come after Sweetener and just completely demolish that album, it was really something to see. Listen, Ariana crapped out so many albums back to back to back.
Yes.
And for this one to me to be the standout, it just spoke so many volumes, especially because I think this is her darkest album.
It is.
Right?
I agree with that.
And with the loss of Malcolm, we didn't really know. I mean, Ariana's mental health, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I really can't imagine with everything she's been through. So again, to create something so beautiful, it was very inspiring to see. And I think also with the tour, it just really brought the album together. I think this is her best era. I think it holds some of her best music videos. So, I don't know, everything about Thank You Next is perfection to me.
No, I really have to agree. And I was the one in the battle. I feel like this is Ariana's most cohesive album in sound.
Yes.
I feel like she sounds most comfortable here, oddly enough, because in a lot of ways she had to get uncomfortable. I think that there's so many details about it, from like the little voicemails, little voice notes that I love. I do think there was more experimentation too on the album. I think of like Bad Idea and the outro to that song. It was just little things that made this album feel special. Not to mention, we did say record breaking for a reason. She was the first female artist to occupy 1, 2, and 3 on the Billboard chart, which was a record breaking Billboard achievement.
Yes.
Okay? So you have to think, you're going through all of this stuff, and with all that happening in your personal life, it can be kind of tough to enjoy your career and enjoy those happy moments.
Yeah.
But when you take a minute to recognize them and revel in them, it can make life, ironically, a little more sweet. So
Yeah.
The idea of thank you and next, the idea of moving forward and moving on, I just think is a beautiful concept. I think you can cherry pick with this album, but I love that the singles aren't the highlights, in my opinion. And I love that they're tailed off at the end.
Yes.
And they allow you to enjoy the rest of the album and the journey, just starting with Imagine.
For this one, I like that you get to hear and feel everything that Ariana felt before maybe a little bit of that pain was eased with 7 Rings, Thank You Next, and Break Up With Your Girlfriend on board. And I feel like Break Up With Your Girlfriend prepared us for Positions. This album also holds some of my favorite lyrical content.
Yes.
I think of songs like In My Head, Needy, Fake Smile.
There was a lot of vulnerability and a lot of
vulnerability.
concepts that she hadn't yet dug into.
Yeah.
But it was almost the truth behind the facade. It was the face behind the mask that we often have to put on when we're going through it.
She could no longer have that, that masquerade.
Yes.
She couldn't have that anymore.
Yeah.
So that's what makes me kind of excited for Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's almost the same in that aspect.
Yeah, it's like the way that all these albums connect is beautiful because it's almost like she plans them 3 years in advance. And I just don't know how that happens, but that's what happens when an artist is honest about their life. An artist is honest about where they're at.
Yes.
And when you take the journey with them, and that is so appreciated.
Yeah.
We are lovers of music, but we are lovers of people too. I love humanity, right? And I know it's hard to have hope in humanity, but I do. And so music, I think, connects us all. It's a universal language. It's one that everyone understands. And so when you have contributors like Ariana, it just makes that all the better.
Especially when their love for music is so evident and radiates in everything that they do. Keyword is genuine. That is our ranking for Ariana Grande's 6 studio albums. All right, now, we might get some flack. We might for certain placements, but we hope our reasoning is reason enough to why they rank where they rank. However, we want to know what your rankings are for Ariana Grande's 6 studio albums. Let us know down below.
We'd also love to know what your predictions are for Eternal Sunshine and where you think it'll rank in Ariana's studio albums. We are excited. We cannot wait to listen. Ariana, thank you for everything. Next.
As always, thank you guys so much for watching.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your post notifications, that way you know when we upload, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.